today's quick tip video, I'm going to show you how to practice guitar licks and scale sequences that have a lot of fast fretting hand position shifts. And there are two things that can go wrong if you screw up your position shifts on guitar. The first one is you simply play the wrong note. That doesn't sound good. And the second thing is your hands can get out of sync right after the position shift because your fretting hand didn't move fast enough to stay in sync with the picking hand.
Don't repeat what you hear here. Hear?
What, the first thing or the second thing?
Very funny.
So I got 3 quick tips for you to tighten up your position shifting on guitar. And the first one is to simply focus on where your eyes are looking. Let's say I'm playing this arpeggio sequence that goes like this. And my goal is to nail the position shifting from the 8th fret to the 12th fret to the 17th fret to the 20th fret and to the 24th fret. And the way I'm going to do that is by looking ahead to the 12th fret while my hand is still playing this shape over here from frets 5 to 8. That's because when my hand is in this position, I no longer have to look at what each finger is doing because I and you should have this shape already memorized. And while my hand is doing its job over here, if I'm looking ahead to the 12th fret, it's way more likely that I'm going to nail this slide, this position shift with accuracy. And the same thing happens from this shape to this shape. While my hand is in this position over here, I'm looking at the 17th fret, so when I make the jump with the hand, it's way more likely that I'm going to land on the correct fret, not one fret before, one fret after. The same applies to playing scale sequences on guitar that require position shifting. When I was playing that scale sequence for you earlier, I'm starting to look to the fret where my hand is going to jump before my hand starts to move there. This is key. The second tip I have for you, and this one is particularly helpful for syncing up your hands right after the position shift, is to isolate the notes right around the position shift. For example, in the scale sequence I played for you earlier, there's a rather tricky, fast position shift where my hand has to move away from my body, which is always trickier to do, to move your hand this way as opposed to this way towards your body. And so the way I practiced it is to isolate the notes right around the position shift and just focus on keeping my hands in sync during that fragment, like this. Like that. So anytime you get a position shift, just isolate the notes right around it, practice that fragment, and that will help a lot. The next tip I have for you may seem really obvious on the surface, but it's actually not. And that is to make sure you're using the most ideal fingering for each position shift. And here's what I mean. In the scale sequence I played for you earlier, there's a jump that happens from here to here. And if I played it using the exact fingering you just saw me use, that would not be the most ideal way to play it at high speed. And the part I'm talking about is this part here. That's because to go from frets 9, 11, 12 on the G string to frets 10, 12, 14 on the B string, notice how my hand is at a slight angle when I'm playing on the B string. And if I started with this more perpendicular fingering, 9, 11, 12, using this textbook fingering with 1 finger per fret rule to cram 4 fingers in the span of 4 frets, and then I have to angle my hand when I'm jumping to the B string. This actually takes a lot of effort and it's a lot harder to do consistently. So what I decided to do is modify the fingering and to not use the traditional textbook fingering of 1 finger per fret and instead use fingers 1, 2, and 3 like this. The reason I did that is because it's a lot easier to go into the slightly angled position using non-perpendicular fretting on the B string if I'm already coming into it from a non-perpendicular hand position using fingers 1, 2, and 3. This would be harder if I was going from a perpendicular hand position to a non-perpendicular one. And this may seem really subtle, but at high speeds, this makes a lot of difference. And this becomes even more important when you're making position shifts to the very highest frets on the guitar, where the frets are so close together that it's often impossible to cram 4 fingers in the span of 4 frets. So sometimes it is way easier to just use fingers 1, 2, and 3. And I did the same thing in that scale sequence you heard earlier when I shifted up to the highest pattern of it. So little tricks like that make a world of difference. And I know I said I was going to give you 3 tips, but what the hell, here's one more. When you're practicing position shifts, what you want to do sometimes is isolate just the fretting hand and make the position jumps only looking at the fretting hand without worrying about what the picking hand is doing. This will help you learn the motions of the fretting hand a lot faster compared to having to focus on 2 things at the same time, this hand and this hand. And by isolating the motions of one hand, once you get the fretting hand positions in your muscle memory, then you can bring the picking hand back in and put it all together. So there you have it, a few simple tips for how to make position shifting easier on guitar. If you like this video and you want to know more about how to build guitar speed with less practice time, hit the link below. I'm going to show you a free 1-hour masterclass called Guitar Speed Formula. There I walk you through a whole process I put together for how to build guitar speed without doing any slow practice. If you want to know what that's all about, hit the link below, enter your email address, I'll send it right over to you. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified every single time I upload a new video just like this for you. This is Mike Filipov, guitar practice expert from PracticeGuitarNow.com. I'll see you next time.